What if I told you that while lying in a hospital bed fighting for your life, you began hearing knocks coming from nowhere, voices whispering beside your ear, and the spirit of a sister who died before you were born appeared to warn you about the dead who wanted to drag you away? And what if that same spirit later told you the exact day you would win 2 billion dong in the lottery, and it actually happened? Tonight's story comes from Ben Din, and it is one of the strangest accounts involving spirits, possession, black magic water, and a sister from the world of the dead. This story was sent in by a young man from Ben Din. Everything happened about 4 months ago. At that time, he was suffering from a very serious illness and had to be admitted to a hospital in Bong Sun District. He never specified exactly what disease he had, only that he experienced severe breathing difficulties. After only a few days in the hospital, his condition rapidly worsened. His family had to borrow money everywhere they could just to pay for his medical expenses. Then one morning at around 5 o'clock, while lying in his hospital bed, he felt extremely exhausted. His illness had already become severe. As he lay there, he suddenly heard strange sounds: knocking, scratching, objects striking against something above the head of his bed. The sound continued repeatedly. Because he had experienced unusual spiritual events when he was younger, he immediately felt that something was wrong. The noises continued without stopping until around 5:30 in the morning before finally disappearing. That day, he did not tell his grandmother about what had happened. His grandmother was the one staying at the hospital to take care of him. Everything remained quiet until Saturday of that week. That morning, his grandfather was returning home from a market. As he passed a certain house, a fortune teller suddenly called out to him, "Sir, come inside. I need to tell you something." His grandfather was naturally a curious man. Hearing this, he immediately went inside to see what she wanted. As soon as he entered, the fortune teller told him to sit on a cloth lotus flower placed on the floor. After he sat down, she asked him, "Has your family been suffering from misfortune recently?" His grandfather nodded. Yes. He explained that his grandson was seriously ill and currently hospitalized. The fortune teller continued asking questions about the young man's life. After listening carefully, she took out a deck of cards. She shuffled them thoroughly before spreading them out in front of him. Choose any 3 cards. The grandfather did exactly that. The fortune teller looked at the cards and began interpreting them. She pointed at the first card. This card represents your grandson's older sister who died. She explained that the girl had passed away at 3 o'clock in the morning. Then she pointed at the other 2 cards. One was a spade, the other was a club. These 2 cards represent 2 wandering spirits. They are following your grandson because they want to harm him. According to the fortune teller, those spirits had once been homeless people who slept on the streets. Eventually they became sick and died abandoned and forgotten. When they saw the young man passing by, they felt a strange connection and began following him. Since then, they had been constantly tormenting him. After finishing her explanation, the fortune teller handed his grandfather a leaf. "Take this home. Burn it. Mix the ashes into water. When the ashes dissolve, bring that water to your grandson in the hospital and let him drink it." That same day, his grandfather returned home and followed the instructions exactly. He burned the leaf, mixed the ashes into water, then brought the water to the hospital. After the young man drank it, his grandfather told his grandmother everything about meeting the fortune teller. The old couple became frightened. Still, they hoped the ritual would help. after drinking the enchanted water. The young man immediately became extremely sleepy. He slept deeply for a long time. When he finally woke up, his grandmother looked at him and said, "You need to keep drinking the magic water. Otherwise, they'll take you away." The moment he heard those words, he instantly understood what she meant. That night, exactly as he expected, something happened. While lying in the hospital room, he heard sorrowful cries echoing through the darkness. The sound seemed to come from another world. The cries filled the entire room. As he lay there with his eyes closed, he suddenly heard a voice whispering beside his ear. A woman's voice. The voice said, "You're taking my place, aren't you? I love you very much. Stay here with me. Don't leave me." He immediately opened his eyes. At first, he thought it was just a dream, but it wasn't. He insists that everything he saw was real. Many people may not believe him, but he says that unless someone experiences it personally, they cannot understand. As he looked toward the wall near the ceiling, he saw something impossible. There was a tiny girl clinging to the wall. She was extremely small and thin, yet she was strangely beautiful. Her entire body crawled along the surface like a lizard. Her size was no bigger than a gecko, but her shape was clearly human. Seeing this would have terrified anyone else, but he already knew who she was. He wasn't afraid. He believed she was the older sister who had died before he was born. After her death, his mother later gave birth to him. He continued staring at the wall where the tiny spirit girl was hanging. About 5 minutes later, something even stranger appeared. A car materialized near the ceiling. The vehicle arrived as if it had come to pick up his sister. The spirit climbed into the car. Then both the car and the spirit vanished. The next night, something even more terrifying happened. At around 2 in the morning, his grandmother suddenly woke him up, still half asleep. He asked her what was wrong. His grandmother looked frightened. She then told him what had happened while he was sleeping. According to her, one of the 2 male spirits that had been following him had possessed his body. While under possession, the spirit spoke through him and threatened her. It warned her not to let him drink any more of the enchanted water. Fortunately, his grandmother had already suspected something supernatural was happening. She had prepared several mulberry branches beforehand. The moment she realized the spirit was speaking through him, she grabbed the branches and repeatedly struck his body. She especially struck sensitive areas because, according to an old belief she followed, evil spirits feared mulberry wood and would be forced out of the body. Whether that belief was true or not, he could not say. He only knew that his grandmother completely believed it. The next morning, she told his grandfather everything that had happened. She urged him to find another spiritual practitioner immediately. That day happened to be Sunday. His grandfather began searching for help. Strangely enough, throughout the entire day, nothing unusual happened. Everything seemed peaceful, but the peace did not last. At around 9:15 that night, while lying in bed, he suddenly felt an enormous weight pressing down on his chest. It felt as if 2 men had climbed directly onto his body. The pressure was overwhelming. The 2 spirits seemed determined to crush him. Breathing became almost impossible. The worst part was that his illness already affected his lungs. Even under normal circumstances, he struggled to breathe. Now, with the crushing weight of the spirits on top of him, he felt as if he were suffocating. His condition deteriorated rapidly. Doctors rushed him into the emergency room. For 5 straight hours, Medical staff worked desperately to stabilize him. Only after that was he finally moved back out. His grandmother became terrified. She no longer trusted the local hospital. She begged the doctors to transfer him to a larger medical facility because she believed the condition was becoming far too dangerous. And then something strange happened. As discussions about the transfer were taking place, he suddenly heard a familiar whisper. It was the voice of his dead sister. The spirit whispered directly into his ear. "If you transfer hospitals tonight, they'll follow you. And if they follow you, they'll kill you." The warning frightened him. He immediately told his grandmother, but she refused to listen. As far as she was concerned, saving his life came first. No matter what spirits were saying, he needed better medical treatment. Eventually, he was transferred to larger hospitals for continued care. After receiving treatment there for some time, his health gradually improved. In the end, he recovered. Life slowly returned to normal. For nearly 2.5 months, he no longer saw his sister's spirit. Then one night, she appeared again. This time she brought a message so unbelievable that he could hardly believe it himself. In a dream, his sister appeared before him. She looked at him and said, "I've seen how hard life has been for you and Grandma. I want to help you." Then she said something that completely stunned him. "Tomorrow, you're going to win 2 billion dong in the lottery. It doesn't matter which ticket you buy. Just buy one. You'll win." She paused before adding one final warning. "Don't tell anyone that I told you. If you tell somebody, you won't get the money." After saying that, she disappeared. The next morning, he remembered every word, keeping the dream to himself. He hurried out and bought a lottery ticket from an elderly woman. The entire day passed slowly. As evening approached, he grew increasingly nervous. At around 4:30, the lottery numbers were announced. He sat down and carefully checked his ticket, one number at a time, line after line. His heart pounded with every match. Then he reached the special prize. He froze. The numbers matched, every single one. He had won the jackpot, 2 billion dong. Anyone else would have screamed with excitement, but oddly enough, he felt calm. The surprise had already happened the night before. He had known the result in advance. Instead of celebrating, he found himself thinking about his sister. If she was kind enough to help him like this, why had she been taken from the world so early? Why had someone so good died so young? After that day, he never saw her again, at least not for a long time. Then, about 2 or 3 weeks before he sent the story, she appeared one final time. This would be their last conversation. In the dream, she smiled at him. Then she said, "I'm about to be reincarnated. I'm coming back as your younger sibling. When the baby is born, pay attention. There will be a birthmark on the arm shaped like a beaded bracelet. When you see it, love that child very much." After a brief pause, she continued, "I'm leaving now. I won't be able to protect you anymore, but our ancestors will continue watching over you." The moment she finished speaking, she vanished, and that was the last time he ever saw her. As for whether the baby was eventually born with the birthmark she described, he never told us. That is where his story ends. And so ends the first tale, a strange account from Ben did about a deceased sister whose spirit seemed to remain beside her younger brother, protecting him from wandering dead souls, guiding him through illness, and appearing one final time before beginning a new life through reincarnation. What if the dead never truly leave? What if a spirit watched over you from birth, protected you from unseen dangers, spoke to you in your dreams, and even changed your fate forever. Tonight's stories are filled with eerie encounters, ghostly warnings, unexplained possessions, and a heartbreaking love story that ended just days before a wedding. Turn off the lights if you dare and listen closely, because some spirits may still be watching. After Mr. H left that evening, I waited for his call. His house was only about 15 or 20 minutes away from mine. But after he left, I kept staring at my phone, waiting and waiting. 30 minutes passed. Then suddenly my phone rang. The moment I saw his number, I felt relieved. I thought he had arrived home safely. I answered immediately, but the voice on the other end was not his. It was the voice of a strange man. Around him there were loud noises, people shouting, and complete chaos. Then I heard the words that felt like a bolt of lightning striking me from the sky. The man told me that Mr. H had just crashed his motorbike into a road divider. He died instantly at the scene. The police were securing the accident area and wanted the family to come immediately. The moment I heard those words, my entire body went numb. I could not think. I could not speak. I stood there frozen, as if my soul had left my body. Everyone in my family rushed to take me to the accident scene. On the way there, I kept praying. I begged. I hoped. I wished that maybe he had only broken an arm or a leg. Maybe the stranger was mistaken. Maybe he was only injured. Maybe he was still alive. I kept repeating those thoughts over and over. I only prayed for one thing. Please don't let him die. Please don't leave me. But when we arrived at the scene, reality shattered every hope I had left. In front of me was a body covered with a white sheet. It was him. He was already gone. The man I loved. The man I planned to marry. The man who promised to take me on a trip after finishing his service. The man who promised that no matter what happened, he would marry me. He was really gone. I remember standing there staring at him. Everything around me became silent. It felt like time had stopped. I could not cry. I could not scream. I could only stare. Later, when I thought back to everything that had happened before that day, I realized that perhaps he had already known. Maybe he had sensed something. Maybe he had seen the shadow of his own fate approaching. That was why he kept saying those strange things whenever we visited the temple together. He would always say, "If one day I'm not here anymore, you must live well." At the time, I thought he was being dramatic. I even got angry and scolded him for saying such unlucky things. But after he died, every one of those words became reality. The truth was even more heartbreaking because there were only 3 days left before we were supposed to leave for our trip together. 3 days. That was all. We had spent years together. Our families already knew each other. We had plans, dreams, a future. We had bought matching clothes, saved money, prepared everything. After the trip, we were going to get married. But in the end, no matter how carefully people plan their lives, fate always has a final say. Everything changed in a single night, a night that I can never forget. Even now, whenever I think about him, I still remember the way he spoke to that poor lottery-selling child. I remember how kind he was, how he always cared for other people, how he treated everyone with compassion. And perhaps that is why losing him hurt so much. Not only did I lose the man I loved, the world lost a genuinely good person. That is the end of my story. And honestly, if there's one lesson I learned from all of this, it is that we should cherish the people around us while we still can. Spend more time with your family. Tell the people you love, how much they mean to you. Give them hugs. Say kind words. Make memories with them. Because no one knows what tomorrow will bring. No one knows when goodbye will become the last goodbye. And when that moment comes, no amount of regret can bring someone back. With that, today's collection of supernatural and emotional stories comes to an end. Some stories remind us that spirits may remain beside us long after death. Others remind us how fragile life truly is. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, these experiences have left deep marks on the people who lived through them. And perhaps, after hearing these stories, you'll find yourself thinking a little more about the unseen things that may exist around us and about the people you love while they are still here.